There it is. I knew it. I'm like looking over. I'm like, I'm just going to start talking, but then I forgot to hit that one button. So it's there now. Hi, my name is Dylan. Welcome to the weekly stream for Idle Champions of Forgotten Realms. We are broadcasting you from Codename Entertainment's streaming freezer in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. You notice that I have been layering up more and more over the course of the year as the weather gets colder outside and it gets colder in this one room. Before we begin, I would like to give a huge shout out and thank you to the folks at Dungeons and Dragons, both for allowing us to join you here on the official D&D Twitch each week, but also just because they're awesome. We love working with them, and they send us cool stuff. Stuff like this. Cool. Yeah, and also another shout out, Erica, the moderator, the person helping manage the C&E Games account, doing the giveaways, grabbing questions, making sure that we're not missing anything, getting answers for things I don't know, which is lots of stuff. She adds little notes to things for me, so yeah, it's great. So for today's show, no special fanfare or anything. We're going to start with something pretty straightforward. Justin, would you like to start talking about what's going to happen with Year 3 events?
Sure, I can do that. So we'll do a little blog post at some point, but I wanted to give all you folks on the stream the first sneak peek, I guess sneak words, I don't know. The first information about how Year 3 events are going to work. As many of you are aware, next weekish will be our very first Year 3 event. It'll be the third iteration of High Harvesttide. And one of the challenges we've had over the past several months or so thinking about Year 3 events is how we're going to do them. Because even with Year 2 events, we started to see a little bit of event fatigue from events where there was just so much to do in the 12 days that events were around that it started to get kind of challenging to do it if you were just a more casual player or you were playing sort of part-time or you couldn't play on weekends or stuff like that. So what we've done with Year 3 events is at a high level, we'll still have three champions in every event. We'll have a new champion in every event that comes out this year. But instead of having access to all 3 years of the event right away, we're going to gate that content a little bit. So you'll start out with access to the current year with the new champion. Everyone will be able to get that champion without having to do anything special. And then of the other 2 years, of the Year 1 and Year 2, you'll be able to pick one of those years, and you can unlock that for free and do all of the content from that year. And then for the final year, for the year you didn't pick to unlock for free, you will still be able to unlock it, but it will cost you some time gate fragments. And our lore explanation for this is that we, going back in time is challenging, and you need the aid of Mystra for that. So in order to access all 3 years, you'll need to spend a few time gate fragments.
So what are we doing to mitigate that? Because I know time gate pieces don't drop at a ridiculous rate in the game. So how are we making that easier?
So time gate fragments, we've made them a little bit easier to obtain over the last little while for people who have started playing with the patron system, which we rolled out a few weeks ago. You're able to buy a time gate fragment from each patron every week. So over the course of 3 weeks, that's a total of 6 time gate fragments. And then obviously you get your normal drops of time gate fragments every 5 to 6 days. So we're always trying to look at more ways to get you these time gate fragments, especially if we're going to be using them for other purposes other than opening time gates. So there will probably be some more systems in the future as well that also drop time gate fragments or allow you to get more time gate fragments. We don't want this to be something that makes you feel like you can't do normal time gates or that we're taking something away. The main goal of this is to just make it so that if you only want to do 2 or if you don't want to spend a lot of time on the events, you can just do 2 of the years and feel like you've sort of completed that event, because in order to get access to any more of the content, you'll need to use your time gate fragments.
So Harvesttide 3 starts next week, and you pull it up. Are you spending event tokens for the year 3 one to start it?
Nope. The year 3 one starts out unlocked, just like the last event with Bright Swords. How you started out with some content unlocked that you could do, and so you'll be able to immediately start doing the year 3 content with the new champion, who I don't know if we've announced yet.
We haven't, no.
Okay, so the year 3,
Not
the
officially
first year
anyways.
3 champion, you'll be able to immediately do that, and then you get to pick which one of the other two, Stokey or Farida,
Yeah, Farida's the year 2 one. Yeah.
that you want to unlock as well.
Okay. So how do event tokens work with this new system? Because normally it's what is like 50 tokens to do the initial champion unlock adventure,
100, yeah.
or 100, and then however many to do the other free plays. So
Yeah.
is that still the case?
Yeah, we're still keeping that design the same. So the current year, so the same as year 2, it'll be 100, 1,000, 2,500, and 5,000 to do the initial adventure and the variants.
Okay.
And then the free play cost will ramp up from 500, 1,000, 1,500, up to 2,500 for the free plays for that year. And then all of the previous years have had their costs all reduced by a quarter. So it's 25, 250, 650, and 1,250 to do the initial adventures and those variants. And then the time gates scale up as normal.
Oh, okay. But so does it scale? So like the year 1 one is much cheaper, and then year 2 is a little cheaper, and then, or is it just?
No, just all of the old years are cost the same amount.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So a player who starts today and somehow manages to get through enough content to build up their favor and feel like they have a great shot at clearing everything in an event.
Yeah.
On next week when the event launches, they can just load up the year 3 adventure, go through, unlock that champion, no problem.
Yeah.
And they can pick one of the other two
Yeah.
to just unlock, and it's cheaper to play through those free plays.
Yeah.
And then if they want to unlock a third one, because they're ambitious, they'll need time gate pieces to unlock the last one. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and that's kind of what we're trying to go for. Is like getting 2 champions from an event is pretty much the standard, and then getting additional champions, we're going to try and we're gating that a little bit, but it's not a huge cost.
Okay.
So essentially, if you're coming in now, the events, you'll be able to get the same amount of stuff out of events that you got from a year 2 event, because we unlock 2 of the years for you for free, the current year and one of the past years. And so you'll be able to get exactly the same amount of heroes and chests and whatnot as you did all throughout year 2. But if you want to get that third year of content, you have to pay the time gate fragments.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, even over the course of an event, if you're playing the patrons and unlocking, I mean, you get 6 time gate pieces
Yeah.
through during the event.
Yeah, you have access to 2 weeks of patron token or patron time gate pieces, and then over a 12-day period in the event, you'll definitely get at least 2 time gate fragments from that as well.
Okay. So how is this going to help with players who feel like they have event fatigue?
Yeah, so I mean, the thing we really wanted to avoid was because we reduced the cost of the free plays. So even if you've done all of the previous event content over the past few years, I think people could still feel like the game's kind of, and this is a bit of a psychology thing, but the game is kind of forcing you to go back and do at least 4 free plays for every single champion, even if you don't want or need the chests, because they're cheaper, they're reduced. And so what we're really trying to do is just put a small barrier between players who feel that way and the content, so that they don't feel like they have to unlock everything and do all of those time gate or all those free plays and farm all that gear and feel like if they don't, they're going to get behind. So we just really wanted to make sure there was, 2 years is how much content we expect everyone to want to do in an event, and if you want to do more, then you have that option, but it's not something that's like feels required by the game.
Okay. Do we have we finalized how many time gate pieces it's going to be to unlock the last slot yet, or is that something that's still in development?
We're still doing some testing, but right now it's looking like it'll be 6 pieces, just like opening a normal time gate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, okay, I'm just trying to make sure that because we're getting a whole bunch of questions in all at once. Thank you, guys. But I want to make sure that we're addressing the ones most relevant to this discussion. So I'm going to shuffle around this order a little bit. So one player wants to know how, since they're a new player, how are they supposed to get the heroes?
Yeah, so I mean, for brand new players who don't have any time gate fragments, you might be able to squeeze together 6 time gate fragments before the end of the year, or before the end of the event rather. But really, just 2 champions per event. I think it's a pretty big ask for us to ask you to gear up 2 champions during an event. So get 2 from the event, and then if you really want to get the third one, there'll be an option maybe on a time gate or other avenues in the future to unlock that champion. That are not necessarily the event. Or, of course, you could go around next time the event comes around next year. Just like everyone who has been playing for the past 2 years. The first year there was only 1 champion. The second year there was only 1 new champion for them to get. This year, people who've been playing for a while, there's only 1 new champion for them to get. So over time, if you play until next year, you'll be able to get the year 4 champion and the one that you missed this year, perhaps. So
this is built with not just year 3 in mind, but keeping in mind for how you want to expand it out for
this
year
is
4.
built for going forward as well, because we if we didn't do something like this year, we'd get to next year and there'd be 4 champions for you to recruit, gear up, get an epic or 2 for, and I think it would just start to really quickly get out of hand. So this is also looking forward as well. We want to make sure that that players are feeling like the content is not overwhelming.
Okay. So you mentioned the patron system offering a couple chests a week. A couple time gate pieces a week. Is that the only way that we're going to see time gate pieces showing up more frequently, or would we have something else in store?
No, we've got a lot of plans for new systems this year. Now that we're sort of ramping down a lot of our additional platform development, so console and mobile and all that stuff, and the WebGL platforms as well. We're starting to free up some resources for some of the features that we've had planned for a very long time. So we'll start to get some of those out, and I'm 100% sure that some of those will have additional ways to get time gate fragments, potentially unlock champions, get gear for champions, etc., stuff like that.
Okay. On the subject of time gates, do we have any planned changes for them coming?
Yeah, we've been talking internally about sort of how to make time gates a little bit more useful, a little bit more, give players a little bit more agency over them. Because right now, obviously, we just give you 3 random champions, and there's 49 right now champions, 50 after High Harvesttide goes out, and I guess not all of them are event champions, but still, there's a large number of champions to pull from, and your odds of getting the one that you want are very low. So we want to give players a little bit more agency over that. We're not 100% sure on what that's going to look like yet, but we've been discussing it internally.
One player wants to know if we're going to do anything to expand or update the event storyline with the 3rd year.
So I don't think we have anything planned for High Harvesttide, but it is something that we look at every time we come around to an event again. In Bright Swords, for example, we added some more fiend enemies to sort of theme it to Turiel a little bit more. So we're always looking at that every time. Every time an event comes around, we look at it and we go, does this make sense for this year? Does this make sense? Are there any changes we want to make? Any backgrounds we want to change, enemies we want to add, etc. So yeah, we continue to look at that.
Let's see. Stale Febreze. As a new player, this sounds fine. Rather than praying to RNGesus the moment I have time gate pieces, count 2 or whatever, the cost will be 0. It'll still be access to 3 heroes I don't have.
Yeah, hopefully. And we wanted to make sure that it was a choice as to which of the year 1 and 2 champions you were able to unlock for free. We didn't want to be like, year 3 is free or is unlocked, year 2 is free, and then year 1 costs the tokens, because we know that there are different power levels for champions through the years, and I think this will also be a good opportunity for people to talk about, like, hey, I'm only going to do one other champion aside from year 3. Which is the best out of year 1 and 2? Like, which one should I focus on? And I think there could be some interesting discussion in the community about which one's best.
That one isn't related to this question. Alrighty. Aren't time gates essentially at this point barely worth it? I mean, once you get all the champions unlocked, you would only need to get a bunch of chests in an event, and you never have to worry about that champion you want to gear up with the chests you've gotten. What are your thoughts on time gates in general?
Yeah, like I said, time gates are something that we want to we want to evaluate, give players a little bit more agency over how they're used, and also make sure the rewards are still compelling. And we've got some ideas for that, but we don't have anything to talk about today, unfortunately.
Alrighty, and let's see. Jozern D&D wants to know if we have a blog post ready for them to be able to read the information about this. But I suspect that's something that's still in development.
It is something that we'll try to get out this week, but it's not something we've got ready yet. I just wanted to come on stream and tell everyone who's tuning into the stream this, and I'm sure it can get disseminated out to some of the community through this, hopefully accurately. But we'll get a blog post up, a dev blog up on this tomorrow, hopefully. It'll be on my list at least.
One player, I just see this in chat, and for players who have already completed an event, is it possible that the cost can be reduced? If I go back and pick up a few epics, that shouldn't cost me 6 pieces. So they're wondering if they've already completed year 1 or year 2, if for them unlocking one of those years for time gate pieces would be cheaper than if they had an entire thing to unlock.
Yeah, so in our initial design pass here, we're not going to do anything like that. We're going to have the years sort of reset. Each time an event comes up, the event or the years will relock. But it's something we've discussed internally about whether we want to give people who've been around for a while a little bit of an advantage there. But right now we're gonna keep them locked regardless of your progress from previous years.
Will all 3 champions chests be available for purchase, even if we only unlock 2 of them for free? So for in the store or for tokens?
Yeah, this is another thing we talked about, and right now the way it's implemented is that they're only in the store or available for real cash or for event tokens if you've unlocked them. So you'll start out with just the year 3 champion in the store, or the champion's chests in the store, and then you get one of the other 2 based on what you unlock. And if you wanna, spend your tokens on chests for the 3rd champion that you didn't pick, you'll have to spend some time gate fragments for that, or time gate pieces.
Okay.
Time gate key fragments. I don't know. We call them 6 different things.
Alrighty. If you just made all the champions available with no cost, wouldn't players still have to choose with their time? It feels like that would offer more freedom.
Yeah, it's it's an interesting debate, and like I said earlier, there are definitely a subset of players who feel like any content we give them, they have to complete 100%, or else they're losing out. And part of the reason we're doing this is to try and alleviate some of those concerns. I know certainly with the patron system, we put it out and we put a 5,000 cap on your currency that you can earn each week from free plays. And I know there are still a subset of players out there who feel a certain amount of anxiety over that because it feels like they have to get up to 5,000 every week or else they're missing out. And so we want to make sure that that those players are not feeling like there's too much content to do and that they're forced to give up going outside and playing outside or going to a movie with their friends or something. So, yeah.
Okay. If the event resets, does that mean I can get guaranteed gold chests from the variants they've already completed?
No. So the event variants that you've completed and the event adventures you've completed still remain completed. And in fact, you can still see your progress on them on the event dialog right when you bring it up. So there's no change in how that resets. It's just about whether or not you can go and do, if you've already done all their variants and their adventures, whether or not you can go do their free play, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. The bulk of our concern is that we need to spend time gate pieces to do this, which they are gated behind an opaque system that doesn't play nice with going offline or farming at your wall, since time gate pieces only drop from, and this is important, fresh boss kills.
Yeah, so as we mentioned, you can get time gate fragments now from patrons for some currency each week. So there's a second option there that's not just relying on randomized drops, but we can look at potentially making time gate fragments drop a little bit more reliably. It's not super random right now. It's a pretty high chance once the sort of initial cooldown timer on those drops has passed. And if you're just farming at your wall for days at a time, you're not playing you're not playing very efficiently. Anyway, we want players to be resetting pretty often and going through the areas and killing new bosses. But I mean, it's something we can look at if it's a big concern for a lot of players. So, yeah.
Alrighty. So this one, I just need to finish reading this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this argument is causing me to think I misunderstood how the Year 3 champions work. Am I correct that 2 will be unlocked normally in the event, and a third will be available to be unlocked with time gate pieces? And event currency will be used after that for all 3?
That is correct. That is 100% correct.
That's funny, because I'm just like, obviously the chat is very active right now. Every time you spring new ideas and new ways of doing things on players, you get a lot of feedback right away. So it's going to take us a little bit of time to go over this. But yes, changes with Year 3 events. It's funny because I don't like, I've been playing since, I guess, the beta now. And so my time gate pieces tend to accumulate because I've played each event as they come out. And I play through all the content, and then the next one comes out, and I play through all the content, and the next one comes out, and I play through all the content. So if I've been playing for a year or 2 or longer, I'm just trying to think of like whether or not I would personally feel any pressure to play more than 1, maybe 2 characters. I mean, the completionist to me just feels like I'm like, if there's a champion that I want to get chests for, then I will unlock that one for free. And I'll play through the Year 3 one because I'm going to do that. But I don't know. I mean, I guess I just don't personally worry about the time gate pieces for the 3rd or potentially 4th or 5th or whatever character unlocks. It doesn't seem like it, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess
I mean,
that's me. I have a different perspective on it than a lot of our players because
Yeah.
I can dev up my account if I want to. So,
Well, sure, yeah, and I mean, one of the things I would say is that this is like a, we're always listening to player feedback, and if we try this for a couple of events and we're getting a lot of pushback, I think we would definitely look at potentially making some changes. But this is essentially our first iteration of what Year 3 and moving forward events would look like, because we certainly have our goals. We don't want players to burn out. We don't want players to feel like there's too much. We're forcing them to do too much stuff over the course of an event. And we still want to run these events because I think they're fun and they break up the monotony of just running free plays over and over again, or bashing your head against a wall in a tough variant. So I mean, we're always trying to add new things to do and variant things to do and things that are different. And so we want to keep running these events, but we don't want you to have to feel like you have to do 15 adventures worth of content and 25 to 30 free plays every 12 or every 3 weeks in order to keep up. So yeah.
do we have any plans to make updates to how the event tokens drop?
Not right now, because of the way that we've priced out both the current year and the previous years. If you just do 2 years of the event, it's going to end up being functionally identical essentially to Year 2 events. And if you want to do that 3rd year, you're already paying some time gate fragments, so throwing in a couple of bounty contracts on that probably isn't going to break the bank too much on you.
Okay.
Plus, all 3 years of events still have the same feature from Year 2, where the time or the free plays ramp up. So you get essentially every set of free plays you do, you get 5,000 sort of free tokens, not having to pay the full 2,500 for those.
Yeah, because what is it? The Global Blessing gives you 2,500, I think, to start.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's enough to really get started on an event these days.
Absolutely.
Man, those would have been nice in Year 1. Okay, what about champions we've unlocked through a regular time gate but never completed their event?
Yeah, so for those ones, same as any other year. If you want to do their variants, if you're going to do their free play, you'd have to pay to unlock them. The initial recruit adventure would be marked as completed, but you still wouldn't be able to access it unless you unlocked their year of the event.
Yeah, and keep in mind that it's like we're not making you unlock every year with time gate fragments.
No.
Like the Year 3 one is unlocked,
Yeah.
and then you can choose between the Year 1 or 2 to also be unlocked for free. So you're getting at least as much easy access to the event as you did last year, with more if you want to spend some time gate fragments.
Yeah.
On the note of patrons, do we have more coming?
Certainly, we're always going to be, or we definitely are going to be expanding the number of patrons that are available. We don't have any plans in the immediate future to add another one because I think a lot of people are still grinding through Mert and Vajra. But definitely in the future, I could see us adding more patrons. We've got a lot of room on that scrolly dialogue. On the left
Yeah, we
side,
do.
So we've got to fill that up.
Yeah. And I feel like there are a lot of characters, champions that players will expect to be patrons.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, there's certainly no lack of options.
Yeah. Characters that, maybe they're too lazy to adventure or too powerful to be bothered.
Mm-hmm.
So you can work for them instead.
Yeah.
Or they just want you to work for them because some of them are like that.
Yeah, they'll just provide you with some handy advice, maybe some literature. And,
Okay. Thanks for all the hard work. Really enjoying the game. Thank you.
Thanks, Galifire.
Will we get to choose which secondary champion between year 1 and year 2 is available for free?
Yeah, absolutely.
And will regular time gates still be available?
Yes. So in fact, regular time gates will still be available, and we are looking at improving those sometime in the next little while.
Alrighty. So with some event formations easier to farm for favor with than others, can we hope to see formations shown for a character's free play before we go into it so that we can make a more educated decision as to which characters we choose to unlock? That's a good question.
That is a good question. I don't think we currently do show that, because basically what happened, the way we've got it set up now is just you bring up the event dialogue. It's got sort of the 3 champions, I guess 1, 2, 3 on your screen. We've got the 3 champions listed there. You can click to go into the ones you've unlocked, and they're exactly the same. And if you click to go into one that is not unlocked yet, you just get a dialogue that replaces sort of the summary screen that shows the adventures and the achievements and the character's equipment. And so on that screen, instead, you get a chance to unlock them. We could potentially put the free play formation on there. I could look into what's involved in that. I think we can probably pull some of that data out. We'd have to look and see what data the front end has at that point. But yeah, we might be able to do something like that. If not for this event, then maybe for Liar's Night.
This player. How is it true that we have access to the same amount of content as in previous events? In previous events, we've had access to 100% of the event champions.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have access to 66. No, you have access to 100%, actually. Also through free-to-play means, if you want to go that route. So, but
Yeah.
if you want to compare it more literally, like you had 2 different adventures with character unlocks and variants for free last year, which you will also have this year. And if you want to do a third, which, let's be honest, like we're talking about High Harvestide here. Are you really planning on grinding a crap ton of chests for Stokey and Farida and
Stokey
Champion
is
X,
amazing.
the new one? Stokey is really good now, yeah.
And Farida's got a pretty cool skin coming. Spoilers.
Yeah, eventually. That's. Is that even drawn?
It is drawn. I've seen it.
Oh, have you?
It is
Okay.
amazing.
I'm gonna have to pull that up.
All
after
you
I didn't look at it.
Farida fans out there, look for that in the future.
Yeah. So, moving away from the time gate concerns and moving back towards chests, when will we be able to spend tokens directly on event silver chests? When will bosses drop them? I don't think we've ever said they will.
I don't think we have either.
And will silver chests come to time gates?
So silver chests, I understand there's a lot of people who want to get silver chests so they can finish their gear collection and have a way to level up their gear as well. So one of the things that is planned for patrons, for the patron shop, is actually a way to get some silver event chests. So keep an eye out for that in the future. It probably won't be the first patron shop update, but after that, at some point, it is something we do want to do. Let you get those event silver chests.
Sarcastrog asks if Turiel has been fixed. I can't remember what was broken with Turiel.
I'm not sure specifically. I know there is an outstanding issue with Turiel where his embodiment of the law isn't applying to base DPS, and that will be fixed in the next push we do, which should hopefully be tomorrow for most platforms, but Monday for some others.
This is an interesting question from King Lemming. Are there any plans to revisit Black Viper and possibly make her red gem mechanic a bit more like Zorbu's lifetime kills? Seems like that'd be an easier to maintain moving forward since you don't have to code discrete levels.
Yeah, I'm sure Black Viper will absolutely get a pass when we get around to some of the year 2 content updates, balance updates. So, yeah. And we did learn a lot from how we did Zorbu, and we learned a lot from how we did Black Viper too. So I could see some changes being made to her when we get there.
Yeah. That is not an official promise to update it to be exactly the same, by the way, just in case players are wondering. We'll do what's right for Black Viper when we get there. Alrighty. Speaking of Frida, can we please get some more Tiefling support for her?
Of course. I'm not sure who on the upcoming list is a Tiefling, but I'm sure there must be because everyone and their mother loves playing Tieflings. And,
it's true. Tieflings are popular.
Very popular class. For
I don't
PCs.
think there's any more Tieflings coming in the rest of the High Rollers Aerois characters, but Frida does have a sister.
That's true.
Are we planning on any updates for Frida for High Harvestide?
Not for High Harvestide, but Frida will be part of the Year 1 Champion Balance Update Part 2, the Y1CBUP2, if you will, if you like acronyms. So I would imagine we'll see some updates and fixes for her there. I know she's got a couple of outstanding issues that I would like to fix. But that will be when that happens. We've kind of pulled back from doing too many champion updates during events because we've already got so much on our plates for getting a new champion out and making sure everything's updated for year 3. So she will get her update at the Y1 champion balance update part 2.
No, the year 2 champion, because she was our first.
She's year 2. You're right.
Yeah.
Frick.
Yeah. Sorry, it'll be longer. Wait like 14. No, I'm kidding.
Hopefully that'll come faster now that we're sort of pulled back from having to do the platforms as I mentioned before. So I mean, we got the patron system out. We got this new year 3 system out. We got the feat system out. So hopefully we'll start to get a little bit better on our cadence of features as opposed to just live servicing content.
Well, we have more people working here now too, right?
That's true.
It's been pretty noticeable that we've been able to accomplish more the more staff we have. Weird.
It's weird.
Yeah, weird. Alrighty. This is a good question from Roland18. Are there any plans to create a patron that would be more suited to new players, requiring either fewer champions or loot levels?
That's a good question. So with our initial pass of patrons, we wanted to sort of test it out with our more veteran players. So we made the requirements a little bit higher. I could see us doing a patron in the future that had a little bit easier requirements. I could also see us doing a patron in the future that had much higher requirements. So I think we could go both directions.
There's a lot of people in chat talking about Farida being pronounced like fajita. It was a subject of much debate here for weeks until Aaron Evans is like, "Oh no, it's supposed to be said Farida like fajita," and we're like, "Oh okay." So, that's why we say Farida because the author says that. Alrighty. Okay, I'm not planning to grind out full gear for all 3, but I was planning to unlock all 3. I won't have enough time gate fragments by the end of High Harvestide. I've been looking forward to both Stokey and Frida, and now I'm either going to have to choose between them or buy one, which I can do no matter whether it's their event or not. Does that make sense? I feel like I sound crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be some edge cases where you just can't get enough time gate fragments before you need to. I mean, we have some sympathy for that, but at this point I'm not really sure how to answer that. We just hopefully you'll be able to find some time gate fragments really quickly, unlock some patrons, see if you can grind out a bit of currency for them, and we'll see what else maybe we can do for you between now and the event.
I mean this is. I should stress, this is our first iteration. We do want feedback on this. Obviously, there's going to be some questions around any new system coming into place that we don't have the written data out to give you yet. and nobody has played through this yet. Like the players haven't played through it yet. Like we're testing it. So we do want your feedback. Like if this is the worst experience you've had playing our game by the end of High Harvestide, we want to know. At the same time, if you didn't notice, or if it was great, or you have positive, we do want positive feedback too. If you have it, please. But yeah, it's we want feedback. It's we're always growing, and we do listen to our community. Alrighty. I asked last week, but will we start having fewer DPS champions in the future, as they tend to be most likely to be permanently benched?
Yeah, having a good balance of champions is something we strive for, and you'll notice that it's mostly support champions. 2 out of 3 are support champions generally from events, and we also like to put a smattering of tanking and healing champions in there too. But DPS is definitely going to be sort of the lower end of the champions that we put out, or the lower end of the amount of champions we put out. Infrequent. The least frequent. There we go. The least frequent champion we put out. So yes, to answer your question, yes, there will be fewer DPS champions in the future. And when we do one, we want to make sure that we do it in a way that it's sort of, they've got a unique mechanic. We don't want to just put in like another champion that just does DPS and has high modifiers for that. So yeah.
Alrighty. Can you please clarify the cost of the 3rd champion unlock in Timegate fragments, and what exactly unlocking them means in terms of what you can do once they are unlocked, in terms of running adventures, variants, and free plays?
Yeah, so currently right now, to unlock the 3rd champion, it'll cost you 6 Timegate fragments. And once you've done that, you can run it just like a normal event in the past, where you can do their adventure, do their variants, do as many free plays as you want. Nothing relocks during the event, so you can do as many free plays as you want to, and that's the 3rd champion. The 2nd champion, you do the exact same thing, just it doesn't cost anything. It's free.
This is kind of related to it. I know I'm skipping around in questions, but somebody wants to know if they spend a bunch of time gates pieces to get open another year. Do they get refunded time gate pieces if they don't complete all the content or anything?
Yeah.
Like with the normal time
Yeah,
gate?
not at the moment, but again, that's something we can certainly look at feedback on and see.
Higher Pool would like if we are planning to have any more champions that are empowered by other champions in their affiliation, like the companions of the hall, not champions of the hall.
Yeah, we're certainly looking at having champions in the future who are empowered by their affiliation. I know there's a bunch of high rollers or OS champions that still
3 more
haven't been added to the game with Keelik and Ayla there. So I would imagine those guys would work together with the Aeowis.
No, that's the guy from Princess Bride. Aeowis.
With the A synergy there.
Aeowis.
With the Aeowis synergy. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some champions that also interacted with the affiliation that maybe they don't actually have. Maybe in less than a week.
Yeah, maybe next week's character will be a staunch follower of an adventuring party that they are not a part of themselves.
Could very well be.
Yeah,
Wouldn't be surprised.
What happened to the coming soon Evergreen champions?
Oh,
Damn
man.
it, Chris.
So I mean, I can speak to that a little bit of like what my reasoning is, at least for those not being a huge priority for us this year. It's not because I hate y'all. It's actually because right now, exactly what some people are saying. Like, we have a bazillion champions in the game, and most formations you can only have 10 champions in them, and so much like all those other DPS champions, if you've got all the champions unlocked, you have 10 in your formation, and you have 39 champions sitting on your bench doing nothing. And adding in more evergreens just means that there's 41 champions sitting on your bench doing nothing. And we're kind of committed to doing our event cadence because it's kind of what we do, but we can control when the evergreens come out. So with that said, that doesn't mean they're never going to come. It just means that there are game systems I would like to get in place before I rush into doing those. And with that said, that doesn't mean that I'm necessarily going to wait until those game systems are out before I add one or two of those evergreens, because you guys have been waiting for a very long time for certain ones. and we would like to deliver on one of those. I won't say before the end of the year, but I think it's actually on the schedule for near the end of the year. We'll see.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to get more specific than that because God forbid it gets shuffled.
I mean, we're 4 months away from sort of that time of the year, so we'll see.
Yeah. We have a lot of stuff. I've reached the point where I don't mind saying I'm like, this is the quarter we're targeting with X, but that's no dates. It might not hit that quarter. Things happen. Making games is time consuming, difficult, and the priorities shuffle.
Yeah. So. Yeah, there's so much going on every day here that we need to think about. So would definitely like to be able to get out the features that I'm sort of waiting for to get more evergreens out, but we'll see.
Malakian wants to know if we have any plans to scale up bounty contracts, like 2 hours, 8 hours, 24 hours instead of 1 hour, 4 hours.
I think it's 30 minutes for
Anyways,
we don't have any direct plans like that. One of the things we are working on is an improvement to offline gold, which is somewhat related to bounty contracts, at least the gold portion of them. I think you're probably more interested in the token portion of them. But we are looking at making some changes to the offline gold calculation, trying to bring that a little bit more in line with where offline or active gold actually is. Mm-hmm. But I mean, with that said, it's an interesting suggestion to maybe look at if those should be a little bit higher, or look at things we can do to give people more options for getting more tokens through an event, or stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah. How are you supposed to do the patron version of Lost in the Deep with only 3 bench slots and no tanks? Oh man, somebody actually posted
That's not for me to figure out. That's for you guys to figure out.
Yeah,
I just throw the variants at you and see what sticks.
I mean, I have an account that could be considered to be in the top probably 0.1% like equipment and gear wise, and some of these variants are nasty.
Yeah,
I do them and I get close to the wall and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be able to finish this without a ton of potions and other stuff, and I'll cancel it and do another one because or they require a lot of active play. They are intense. Oh, this is a question for Chris. Why are they called Evergreen Champions? Because Chris started calling them Evergreen Champions.
Yeah, that was Dupuy. It's just like a tree that never loses its leaves. An Evergreen Champion can always be recruited. It doesn't require a specific event. So I think that's where that came from.
Yeah.
Hashtag blame Chris. Indeed.
Yeah. No, that's all Chris. Oh, I finished my patron variant.
Excellent.
Congratulations. I should complete this now.
You should. Let's all watch Dylan complete this.
Yeah. Don't you crash on me.
Uh-oh.
Resetting softly.
Uh-oh. Oh, we're all good.
I remember one time I love it when I get a bug on stream, especially when it's one that's actually difficult to reproduce, like some of the different ones where like a graphic would keep disappearing or something. I'm like, oh God, I should stop this, but at the same time...
now we have a record of it.
Yeah. God damn it. The controller...
It clicked out.
No, it's actually... So this controller is dying.
Oh.
Functionally dying.
Oh, there we go.
So it struggles.
World map load.
Yeah. I'm just working my way through variants. What's this one?
Useless allies.
Oh, is these one of the ones where they move? Yeah, I don't want to do that one while I'm... Here we go. This will be easy.
Oh, yeah.
Any adventure where I can, with my first kill, get all the money I need.
Oh, but you need to... Yeah, okay. You're all good. Oh, dear. Really should add familiars to, like, save formations or something, eh?
I mean, I'm not one to point out stuff like that, but I feel like it's a feature people would get behind.
Yeah, I think so too.
I
mean, I would say that would be a very good feature for us to do.
Wait, no, I gave Walnut the wrong one. It's gonna be busier.
Of course.
There we go.
Okay.
I mean, I'm probably still gonna die on this level, but
those damn tanking red wizards, they're quite strong.
Yeah. Oh no, they're brutal. They're so nasty.
They just take so many hits. Who thought that was a good idea?
It was ruthless before, and then when you add the extra modifiers of the patrons, it's just so much worse.
Players wanted a challenge. So
Yeah,
challenge
I
they
need to
have.
kill the one that they're fighting in order to dump my formation onto the screen.
And by that time, another one will be at you.
No.
At least your clickers are killing everything.
Did I do it? Did I get them all?
Yeah,
I
you
did.
Except
Wait.
for one, apparently, who's missing.
Who didn't I buy?
Who is that?
Oh, no, it's there.
Rack.
Yeah. Although I've been finding lately that I've his amazing buffing, which it's good, but
Quite the buffer.
it doesn't scale up, so I've surpassed him. I don't use him as much
Oh.
anymore.
Oh.
Yeah, he
Rack.
needs some kind of item or something that improves his
Improves his OP.
his broken
buffer.
ass ability.
Okay, well,
Maybe it scales so slowly that
Yeah.
it's frustrating, but
default value is 1%, and then
Yeah.
it scales,
yeah, yeah, but it's I've reached that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's
enough,
going.
enough of playing the game we make.
Yeah,
yeah.
Alrighty. Please just add in Dragon Bait so I never have to do Tomb of Annihilation again, just for completion's sake. I've lost my mind because of it. Thank you for your feedback, Hellostream.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's in charge of checking all the math and the game mechanics? Do they have a master's degree or a PhD, or is it just some guy off the street?
It's just some guy off the street. It's me.
I think Rudrum has a PhD though, doesn't he?
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
So he's responsible for making sure different math works.
Yeah, he does other math. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a reason that we have not seen wind or water elemental type enemies? Yeah, Chris.
Do we not have like I guess a dust?
We have fire
method
elementals.
Yeah.
But no, we've never done a wind elemental or a water elemental.
You know why I think it is? I think it's because
they'd have to be swirling
I
and
think it's
moving and
because- yeah.
complex animation.
the fire elementals were so annoying for the artists to do, just so painful to get looking right. Not
There's
to
an
mention-
elemental boss.
Yeah,
Okay,
there is an air. I thought there was.
Yeah,
in Tomb somewhere. Yeah, when you're in the whatchamacallit, the Temple of the Razni or whatever.
Oh, Raznisi. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think they were so annoying to draw that the artists just whenever I mention the word elemental, I get a big big glare, a couple of Nerf darts to the face.
What about random familiars when you click on your bag and place them around? So dragging
So
them
instead of getting just
The-
like the next one.
the exact same order every time. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I think some players have adjusted to the fact that they come out in a fixed order, and so they assign them to in a fixed order. Like if you press F and you like when you're on the keyboard, mouse and keyboard thing, and press F and assign them that way. I think they come out in a specific order. I think people use that to assign specific ones. But
Yeah.
we could put an option in there to like drag out random familiars each time. I don't know.
Alrighty. Fat Cat Sampson is wondering whether or not we tested how possible it is to complete some of these variants when we released them with the patron system update.
Yeah, so I mean, we tested some of them. We tested that you could complete patron variants, but one of the things that constantly amazes us is really sort of the clever ways that players find to beat our challenges. And so from time to time, we'll just put out a challenge that we think can probably be beaten, but maybe not, or maybe it takes more power than you have right now. Certainly, there's been like rolling through the years, through the past 2 years, when we put out the initial Recruit Dritz adventure. That was extremely, extremely challenging, and there were not a lot of people who were able to finish it.
Yeah, that was
But-
difficult to start. I remember that.
But as we put out new content, as we put out new soft cap increases, as we put out new champions, as we put out new features, there's always new ways that players find to get through. Did I say Dritz? No, Drizzt. Anyway, there'll always
Dritz.
we're always adding more power to the game. So even if there's something now that's very challenging or not possible, let's just say very challenging. I don't know if there's anything that's really not possible, but if there's anything that's
No, I
very
think-
challenging,
I
think that
swear
one's
it's
not
like
possible.
Thunder or somebody has actually completed them all already. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, I think players will find ways to get through them, and if they don't right now, then as we add more stuff, they will.
I just realized that we have a Smeek the Goblin in chat, which is hilarious. I don't know if you know much about high rollers, but there's a goblin that Tom hates. Just hates. I mean, his Keelik is like, oh, Keelik is nice. But Tom is just like hates the character. And so when Smeek the Goblin got killed, he was just like, yes. And then he came back later as a ghost that haunts him. Yeah, we were joking about how that would make a good familiar only for Keelik. Anyways.
Yeah. No, we should definitely think about that.
Yeah, that's funny.
I love familiars. I love familiars.
Any plans to add a click point for familiars that can buy the next champion when leaving your system on and are AFK?
So yeah, like a familiar that, or basically being able to put a familiar on a champion that's not unlocked yet. And I think that would probably be part of if we ever did something crazy like put familiars as part of formation saves. I think that would probably be something that would just come naturally from that. So yes, maybe.
Let's see. Any chance we're getting additional dialogue for unlocked event champions in quests?
As we roll forward, when we first started, we tended to just stick to the initial sort of 4 champions, so Brunor, Celeste, Naeli, and Jarlaxle. But as we've sort of been moving forward, we've been trying to sneak in some event champions into there where it makes sense. Yeah, I think as we move forward with new events, or not new events, but new adventures, you'll start to see some of the later event champions speaking up in there. I know certainly, like if we do a Descent into Avernus campaign, you'll visit Candlekeep, and it's very possible that like Turiel, who makes his home in Candlekeep, will have some dialogue in that adventure.
Mm-hmm. And also be bonkers in an adventure that is obviously going to have more than one tank slot, and you're probably going to be fighting fiends because you're in Avernus and everything is a fiend.
It's weird. It's almost as if we thought forward on that.
Yeah.
But no, we don't do that. We just have a spinny wheel. That's how we assign races and classes and stuff for new event champions. It's just right over here. It's off camera. It goes tick, 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 tick. Tiefling.
I like this question for you. Can someone explain to me the point of Drit's feat to raise his intelligence by 1 point when that still isn't enough to get buffed by Dadius?
See.
Why do we have useless feats, Justin?
No, it's
what is it with these ability score feats?
It's 4D math, man. I'm just thinking like 3 years from now when we have a patron that requires exactly that much intelligence, then you guys are going to be eating crow. But that's a lot of some of those cases were just I was really, really tired when I was designing the feats, and maybe I thought it was going to do something that it didn't. Yeah. Someday it'll do something. I'll retroactively make that look like the smartest feat I've ever designed.
Alrighty. Is it too soon to ask about the Area 20 boss for Feast of the Moon not being the same as the Area 50 boss of High Harvestide, or should I wait for Feast of the Moon?
Oh, that was a good running joke that we had. That was the guy who showed up in like the crypt or something.
Yeah, just like wipes your formation super early.
Yeah,
because you're not paying attention yet.
Because you're not paying attention. He's hit based and does like massive damage.
He does
the first 2 rows.
He hits 2 rows of
columns.
characters.
Yeah. I can make a note of that. Actually, Erica, can you make a note of that for me to talk to Chris about before we get around to Feast of the Moon? We can just duplicate that champion or that boss and just change some stuff.
Oh wait, I clicked on the wrong one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Erica's got us.
Yeah, she's got it.
Thanks, Erica.
Alrighty. Will there be more familiars that you can purchase through gems later?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we added more gem familiars in the future, or more familiars through other sources, like patrons or any other upcoming systems that have yet to be disclosed.
Garwar would like to know if we have any other changes planned at all for how events are going to function in year 3, other than Timegate purchases, because he wants to know to help people who make event guides.
Yes, I really appreciate people who make event guides. Those people are cool people. So no, there aren't going to be any other changes. The champions, the events, the prices, and that stuff all follows a very, very similar format to previous year's events. In fact, if you just ignore year 1 of the event entirely, they're basically just the same thing as year 2 events.
Alrighty. Any plans for a champion whose buffs and DPS comes from your favor?
Ooh, that would be interesting. No plans for that right now. I think that would be very challenging to balance since favor tends to go up kind of semi-exponentially.
Yeah, each event. Yeah.
So that would be an interesting mechanic to do, but I don't think we will do that on a champion. Probably not. It'd be kind of funky if after every event it gets that champion gets like 160%, 200% stronger for people who really farm events as their main source of as favor. So probably not.
Yeah. In a way, all of our characters get their power from event favor because you get your gold and you buy up to the level cap, which you need divine favor for.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's God, that could be bonkers. Alrighty. Can you add the ability to look at and upgrade champions that are not currently being used in the slot? I sometimes want to compare champions before I switch.
Hey, me too, Rollin 18. Me too. Yeah, that's something I would like to do. We don't have any specific plans on how we're going to do that yet. But one of the things that is on my to-do list is a pretty big upgrade to the profile dialogue. So when you click a champion, that dialogue that pops up. And one of the things I would like to do is let you sort of peek at the other champions in that seat without having to swap them in. So it's something we'd like to do, but we just don't have an ETA on when that would happen.
Alrighty. Will Zorbu hate fiends once again?
I think Zorbu does hate fiends. It's just not.
Not as passionate as
not as passionate.
Undead beasts and what was drow.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a thing. I teased sort of that coming back in the past, and I think that's something that is sort of uniquely suited maybe to a feat for Zorbu. So we'll look at that and see what makes sense there.
How come the initial 4 champions don't have a cooler name than initial 4 champions?
They do. It's a secret name. I can't tell you it. It's actually Wizards of the Coast has like an assassin parked outside. I got this whenever I mention like the initial 4 champions are actually called, and then there's like this red dot on my forehead, and I'm like, the initial 4 champions.
Why can't we play a brief tour of the realms with our patrons? It's one of my favorite variants because it's the very first one you get to play, and you only ever get to play it once.
Yep. The reason you can't play a brief tour of the realms with patrons is because you can't. I don't really have a very good reason for you. It's just that's the tutorial adventure essentially, and I mean you can't free play that adventure either. The story would not make any sense if you could. There's only 25 or 35 areas in that set, so it's not a full 50 set, and there's a lot of reasons why that one's kind of special, and so we just left it out for patrons.
Yeah, it's also it might be a little antiquated given all the systems it doesn't explain.
Yeah, there's no armored enemies, no hit-based enemies. There is one of the few adventures that has rain.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. Every time I play through, I'm like, we should really have adventures that have rain more often, because rain's really cool, and I know Mark spent a bunch of time making this look awesome.
I mean, it was certainly memorable in the zombie T-Rex level.
Yeah.
It's like the storm and everything.
Yeah, the storm going on.
It was one of the best things we've ever done, I swear.
It was very cool.
peaked in December 2017.
There was the one adventure where the background flashes between like the ruined version and the pristine
end
version.
of Tomb of Annihilation.
Yeah, that one's pretty cool. I like the effect we did for that too. And
yeah,
there's a lot of snow. People are
that was neat.
That
Yeah,
too.
you're in Mesro.
Yeah,
which,
we're just.
I don't know how many people have read the Tomb of Annihilation book, so I won't spoil it. But Mesro is an interesting place.
Yeah.
The Lost Love is the name of the adventure. Yeah, thanks, Mars.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know you are busy and you got to run. So
yeah, I got to get back to it.
But thanks for coming in and giving us a brief overview of the Year 3 events.
Yeah.
And we look forward to dissecting the devlog when it comes out.
Yeah, and I'd just like to say to everyone who asked questions in chat or had feedback, thank you guys very much for your feedback. We really do appreciate it. It's one of the reasons why we tell you some of this stuff ahead of time, is so we can get some initial feedback and see if there's anything that we're really dropping the ball on. So super appreciate the feedback, and I'll leave you in Dylan's very capable hands.
Cool. Thank you.
Bye. Bye, Dylan.
Cheers. Oh, all right. I need to adjust my chair. I am a smart man who does works with his personal trainer on Thursday mornings starting at 7 a.m. And so by the time I stream, my body just starts cramping up in pain because I sit here in a position and don't move around for hours at a time, and then just get more and more tense. So forgive me while I shuffle a little bit. All right. Okay, so that was a lot of questions relatively quickly. I know we didn't get everything because as they were coming in, we were kind of sorting them into stuff that is directly that Justin can answer right now, and stuff that I can probably answer. So if we missed a question, it's probably one that I have an answer to. So I'm just gonna start getting through that. Need a good butt pillow? I recommend a good wheelchair pillow. I actually have a really amazing chair. It's by Steelcase. It's called a Gesture. It's one of the only chairs I've ever sat in where when you lean back, the entire bottom of the chair shifts around to maintain the amount of lower back support that it has, no matter which position you're in. So yeah, it's like one of the there's a reason I sit in this thing a lot, and it's extremely important. So yeah, this may be obvious to some of you, but not necessarily everybody. Don't ever break your back. Don't ever seriously injure your lower back. When people say, lift with your legs and don't bend and all those other things that adults are like, oh, don't do that, kid, and you ignore them because you're young and vulnerable. That stuff's true, and let me tell you, once you've had a serious spinal injury, it affects all of your life, all the time, forever. So keep that in mind. Alrighty, so I have dozens of questions here to start getting into. I'm just going to start chipping away at the list. Ascending Purity. Do we have any information on more Aerois champions coming in the future? I can confirm that Sentry, Lucius, and Nova are going to be coming to the game in the future. In which order and exactly when, I can't give you. I can say that you can safely expect one more before the end of this year. Already, H. Gillum. How do I unlock and use patrons? So there is a menu for patrons. Which, to be honest, I'm not... Oh, this controller. Oh my god. Unplug it. Plug it back in again. So anybody who's wondering whether the Xbox One controllers are better than the Xbox 360 controllers, I would go with the corded Xbox 360 controllers because I've never had an issue like this, but this one just is so finicky. Anyways. It's not in this menu, right? It's in... Oh, wait, no, wrong. This one. Patrons. There we go. So you can unlock patrons from the patrons menu. On PC, there's a patrons menu button along the bar over near, I think it's right beside Complete Adventure. And then as long as you meet their criteria, you can unlock them. There will be a cost to unlocking them. And then you activate them from your world map and you complete adventures for them, earning influence and currency of theirs and spending it in their store. So like, this is the stuff I've purchased with Vajra. I actually was really slow to get started on this because of PAX and the release timing of everything. So I'm weeks behind on my patron stuff, but just slowly chipping away at it, getting the variants done. I swear it was Thunder who posted a completed list, but I can't remember. Is it possible to get all the patron perks and still be able to buy items from their shop? Yes. Did Tyrell and Walnut Wild Shapes get new art with the skins? That is a great question. I know the Tyrell one does because I've actually looked at it, but I've actually never checked the Walnut art to see if it changes when Walnut shifts back and forth. So, oh god, this controller did it really crap out again already. All right. Let's just check that right now. I'll just put Walnut up front. It'll lower my DPS because I'm using her to buff Krond right now, but actually, no, it won't. So we'll see. Let's see if Walnut transforms into a different bit of art with this, because I genuinely don't know. Anyways, I'll just leave Walnut highlighted. So somebody else can notice it when I totally don't even notice because I'm doing all this other stuff. We already have the Acquisitions Incorporated C team members, as well as Jim Dark Magic. Will we be seeing the rest of the Acquisitions Incorporated members at some point? If so, will they share an affiliation with Acquisitions Incorporated? That's a multi-part question that I can't address all of, Arrow Dealer. What I can say is that yes, we will introduce more members of Acquisitions Incorporated to the game. Now, right now, Jim Dark Magic doesn't have an affiliation because there are no other A-team AI characters in the game. But we have at least one more on the horizon, possibly more. Yeah. Cinefe, why are you not using the almighty Shandy in this formation? Because this is a Croned DPS formation, so the saved formation state I have. Why is... Oh boy. Uh-oh. Oh, that's what happened. Okay, I can't edit that. I just got booted off of Chrome. That's that's obnoxious. We use living documents that Erica and I both have open in order to share questions and stuff, and I can no longer see all those questions. So yeah, this is a cron formation, so no Shandy. Is there an expected date on save formations for familiars? No, there's no date I can give you. I can confirm that it's on our list of stuff that we want to address. When that's going to happen, I can't say. We don't like to give dates until we have things locked in, like we know for certain that it's going to come out in a window of time. So I can confirm that it is included in our planning documents, but I can't give you a time when it's going to come. Can we get an option to get the controller portraits instead of the standard ones when playing with the mouse? Keep everything the same, but just give us these cool updated portraits instead. It's an interesting question, Mr. Slap. Good name, by the way. So that's not something we're planning to do. It's an interesting thing in that it's also something that we have had quite a bit of feedback from players on we have players who would rather have the original character portraits and not the ones for the gamepad UI, and players who would rather have the ones for the gamepad UI. So whenever we do get around to updating our interface somewhere down the road, because it's something we'd like to do, but not necessarily something we're planning to doing, maybe we'll keep that in mind. But yeah, I am happy that you like these. I'm just trying to make the note for the right person. Speaking of Dragonbait, when are we going to see some more old school Forgotten Realms characters? Next week. The real Maxian. Sometimes it allows me to place familiars on champions that have not been unlocked yet, but only sometimes. Is this a bug or a feature preview? It's working as intended. So in the gamepad version of the game, because you could this can happen. Yeah, I mean, you can assign familiars to different champion slots, even if you haven't unlocked the champions, which is different than the mouse keyboard / tablet / WebGL / Congregate, Armor Games, etc. UI. So it's not consistent across all UIs right now. Any new plans for growing familiars that changed as you progress in a quest or something? No, Firebird Tops, we're not... we're not planning on turning the familiars into a full-on Pokemon type system. It's a cool thing, but that's not something that we're currently planning to do. Fishbone 5618, Justin Dillon. Oh, sorry, Justin. What games do you play to relax that is not D&D related? My go-to non-D&D game right now is Destiny 2. Which has an expansion coming out in like under 2 weeks, which I'm pretty excited for. Oh, excuse me. Upside Down Birds when? It's a good one. We actually talked about bringing them back as an April Fool's joke, just flipping all the distractions upside down again. But the problem with some April Fool's jokes, especially ones like that, is that you end up with a whole bunch of support tickets for people reporting a bug, which thank you, we appreciate it. So it's got to be obviously something that is supposed to be the joke. And for those who also don't know, we did have a build go out at one point where there was a bug that for some reason turned all the birds upside down, and so they're flying upside down across the stream. And people have been asking for it to come back ever since. So it's not something we're planning on doing, but it's definitely something that could make an appearance. Any plans of making an Area 51 boss you can Naruto run through? No, that's not something we're planning on doing. Would yes this. Can you give any hints on the next High Rollers champion? Players with keen eyes will notice a pattern that indicates heavily which one is the most likely to be the one showing up. Any plans to be able to see /preview /make notes for different save formations? This is something that we're hoping to have some kind of way to address when we do eventually get around to working on formation saves. Because we get it, like save slot 1, 2, and 3 are not descriptive enough for you to necessarily remember across every adventure variant campaign event patron which champions are in which spots and whether or not you've set that formation up recently, for example. Like, hey, is it out of date because you used different champions now? You don't necessarily know until you boot it up. So like we hear you. What we end up doing around that is still very much up in the air. So but we've been gathering feedback on it for a while. Kino 1989, are there plans for a 13th slot? That's an unlucky number. Are you sure you don't want to just skip right to 14? It's a question that actually we probably should have had Justin address, because I don't have an answer for it that will that's anything other than obfuscation. So I'm just gonna set that one aside because that's a Justin /Chris question. Hellstream, someone with mild duranopia, red-green colorblindness. Is it possible to talk about maybe adding in a colorblind mode for the UI? The green highlight color is hard to see. Good to know. That would fall into David's purview, so I'm going to make a note there. Yeah. Yeah, that's something that I don't know if we'll be able to address it or not, but maybe. Can Haley get her taunt back via a feat? What I can say about that giant dwarf is that it's a possibility. It's not necessarily something that we're planning on, but it's a possibility. Thunder, can we get another hint for hidden combination number 9? So what are the hints so far? The hint was that it's the combination unlocks 2 silver Dadius the Scarlet chests. There's a hint. Oh yeah, and the other hint was that his feats offer a hint about it. Yeah, I said from the start that this one was hard, and that we'd leave it for a while. But I also said that once it's discovered, I would create another batch of combinations. So you see, it's one of those things where if I give you even the slightest bit of a hint, everybody's going to figure it out instantly right away, which is why I haven't done it. So, let me put it this way: if when we get to Cimril, if people haven't figured it out, I will give a hint that will make it pretty easy. But it's not something that I'm going to do right now. Dylan, how is Pax Plague treating you? I didn't actually get Pax Plague this time around. I got like a 24-hour thing, like before the weekend before PAX. But no, I'm good. I was out of the office yesterday because I just didn't sleep the night before. One of the downsides of having a severe spinal injury is sometimes you get back spasms, which compounded with other things like is very good at keeping you awake at night, making it very difficult to get comfortable. And so I could not sleep at all Tuesday night. By the time I went to bed a little bit later than usual because I was having trouble, and then tried to wake up at the time I normally do, couldn't do it. got a few more hours sleep, and like woke up and I was just a zombie. I was just so out of it. Like, rest matters, everybody. Get sleep if you can. Yeah, I had a sleep deprivation that cost me a work day yesterday, but did not get a PAX Plague this time around. Is that a lizard in your group? It's a lizard folk. Yeah, that's Korth, one of our event champions from earlier this year. God, I've already forgotten which event he's from. And oh, the controller's working this time. Yeah, Korth. He's a samurai fighter, and he's evil as crap. Not a good dude. Had a lot of fun writing the bio for this dude. Gladiator in the pit arenas of Karatur. Karatur hasn't really been talked about in 5e, but if you're familiar with older editions of D&D like 3.5, you know, there is a Far East in the Forgotten Realms, and that's where he was trained. Alrighty. I think that the champion window in the shop would be a good place to look at champions that share slots with who is already in your formation. As when you have all the champions, it's nothing but a black screen. That's an interesting bit of feedback, Giant Dwarf. I'm not sure what to do with it, but it's... yeah, I'll make a note about it. Why is there no keyboard shortcut for patrons, such as P? I think, actually... So, we did make that change, but I don't know which update it's going to come out to the game in. So, it'll either be the next update or the one after. But yeah, that's something it's in the list. MagePie, it's coming. Here's another question you can't answer: is Binwin a member of Acquisitions Incorporated in the context of Hideout Champions or not? He's not. I've answered that before. Very cool. Binwin is in charge of minions these times. He retired from Acquisitions Incorporated a couple of years ago and set off on his own. And we've been pretty specific about the version of Binwin that we have in the game is the one who retired from Acquisitions Incorporated and is no longer affiliated with them. Even one of the event variants for, was it Dragon Down that Binwin's in? One of them is a Binwin's Minions variant. So, no, he's not affiliated with AI, and he's not planning to be. What programming languages do you use for various ports of your game? At least one of them is Unity. Rollin 18. I couldn't tell you what's going on with the WebGL one. I'm getting disconnected from Gmail again. Yeah. Or from Google. God, it's really messing with my ability because all the questions are in a doc and I'm just like listing it out. Yeah. Yeah, Unity for the Steam version of the game, and I couldn't tell you more than that. Can I change the hub/layout on Android, or is it PC exclusive? This UI for the game is exclusive to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Steam, because there is a gamepad mode for Steam, and you can plug in a gamepad and switch to this UI. Other versions of the game don't have this option. Yeah. Alrighty. I think I've found a pattern in the release of streaming champions versus others for roughly 2019. Does Codename deliberately stagger champion releases, or am I finding shapes in the clouds? You are finding shapes in the clouds. Our pattern, or our champion release schedule, is dictated more by the schedules of the creators that we work with than anything. We have, at any given point, like a dozen or more prospective event champions that are like in the pipe somewhere, and like 2 to 3 that are in some state solid enough that they're like confirmed or locked in. We have planned event champions for the rest of this year, but you know, aside from the one that's coming next week and the one that's coming after that, so aside from the High Harvesttide 3 and Liar's Night 3 champions, those 2 are locked in. The rest could potentially shuffle around, and it's a scheduling thing entirely. It's about when we have time to work with people, when they have time to work with us. when contracts get signed and dates get set, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Just as an example, like the reason that adding Paulton to the game took so much longer than some of his party members was because of how much longer it took for us to be able to have some time with Nate to define Paulton as a character, because he toured last year for his album that had come out, and he's also just a busy dude. I mean, he does voice acting, he does a ton of stuff, right? So it kind of all those behind the scene factors are the reason that the champions get released in the order that they do, and yeah, that's it. There's no intended pattern to it. It's as random as it sounds. Why is Korth such a good boy? Because he's evil. Can you spoil the weekend champions? That's a good question. I don't know if we have determined what the weekend champion buffs are going to be yet, so I'm just going to look that up. Oh yeah, we have. Lucky weekend. So this coming weekend is the champions getting buffed are Regis, Paulton, Krond, Hitch, and Tyrrell. Yeah, with a very interesting golden epic that I'm not going to spoil. Alrighty. Have you read any good books lately? I just finished Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson. I just finished Tiamat's Wrath by James S.A. Corey, which is the 8th book of The Expanse. I know, sci-fi, wrong channel for it. But I mean, they're only doing one more after this. And it's awesome. And I'm crossing my fingers that Amazon sticks with the show to get this far. Because they're intending to end it with book 9, and now that I'm starting to see the shape of where it's going, I can't wait. I am very, very excited for seasons 4, but especially season 5 of The Expanse, which they announced they were going to produce before season 4 aired. So happy, and that to me says that they're very likely to do season 6 of The Expanse, because books 5 and 6 are one story over 2 books, more or less. I mean, not that it doesn't feel like there's enough closure at the end of one to feel like you're satisfied with the book, but the story is very much a multi-book story, with book 4 being the one chapter. Like the first trilogy is one major storyline, like everything all ties together, and then book 4 is I don't want to say an interlude, because it's a bridging chapter between the first part of the series and where it goes after. Anyway, so I just finished book 8, Tiamat's Wrath, which has a sweet name, Tiamat's Wrath. I mean, that sounds appropriate, wearing an Archon shirt, Tiamat's Wrath. Anyways, I loved it. And if anybody is looking for a book recommendation, I always recommend the same one. If you read nonfiction, read Just Mercy by Brian Stevenson. He is a civil rights lawyer in Alabama. He started a non-profit that's focused on getting wrongfully convicted and accused folks off of death row. And it is one of the most infuriating, despair-inducing, hopeful, beautiful things you'll ever read, because it's a true story about injustice, and it's something else. So, yeah, you feel like feeling some rage at things, at life being unfair, and some pure, like, tearful joy at things going right and people persevering through all things. Yeah, Just Mercy by Brian Stevenson. They're making it into a movie with a bunch of A-listers in it. A bunch of Academy Award winners all lining up for it, which of course they are, because they'll probably win more with it. But that book is one of the most amazing things I've ever read. Alrighty. I have a hard time understanding blessings. How do you know which members synergize with the team well? Legendary Dragon 75, that question is so big, I don't actually know where to start. The first thing I would do is I would recommend joining us on the official Discord if you haven't already, which is at discord.gg/idlechampions. We have a whole bunch of player resources there. It's all community created and driven, so it's not just codename folks telling you how to do the game. It's players who know the game talking about it. Because quite frankly, the relationship that players have with the game is different than ours. We have a completely different perspective on it. And so you will get better feedback from them about a lot of your questions anyways than you can from us. So I highly recommend joining us there. Blessings are an interesting thing. Everybody has a different kind of rules on how they like to purchase blessings while maintaining favor levels. I know personally I would never have more than 50% of my total divine favor spent on blessings. I mean, at this point I have them all and I have tons of divine favor, but when I was building up my favor to purchase them, you want to make sure you're trying to keep a lot of divine favor so that you can progress through content quickly, purchase your champion levels, etc. quickly. So yeah, it's a big, deep system. We did do a dev blog on it when it came out, I think. Or was it was an event blog. God, it was so long ago that it happened. That was 2017, right? But anyways, yeah, it's a big system. If you have any questions, definitely the Discord is where to go. On the PS4, can we get an option to turn off the familiar attack animation? Currently, they kind of vibrate in place. That's a great question. So I've never actually checked to see if that option is in the same spot in the gamepad UI. In the settings menu, oh yeah, there it is. Disable flashing and lighting effects will turn your familiars from flickering click monsters into just floating characters, which is what I use. Just because we have some photosensitive viewers who have joined us to watch the stream over the years now. Wow. So I like to keep it easier to watch. So flashing effects and familiar clicking and stuff is all turned off. So yeah, in your settings menu, you should find that option. Is Aophel on the list of acquisitions incorporated characters you plan to add to the game? He is not. Yeah, I mean Aophel is super dead. But yeah, we don't plan to do that. Lord Richard Anthony. Is Idle Champions ever going to the Nintendo Switch? I cannot comment on potential future platforms. Very cool. Can Idle Champions run Doom? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But I am looking forward to Doom Eternal. God, yeah, that's going to be so fun. I'm stoked. And at that point, like, Destiny 2's new expansion will have been out for a while, so I will have got through enough content that I will be okay taking some time to just to rip and tear through all the demons of hells. Oh, well, I guess just hell in Doom, and looks like some heavenly things are going to get killed too. Will there be a way to get old familiar packs? So the DLC packs have been retired, but that isn't to say that those familiars are disappearing forever. I don't have any more information I can give to you yet about in what form they will reappear in the game. But yeah, we do plan it. Please tell me that the Avernus campaign will have 11 slot formations. The adventures should be hellish. That is an interesting statement, Giant Dwarf. I'm just going to double check something because I think it's a 10 champion formation with 2 tanks. 3 tanks? 2 or 3? I don't know. But I would have to double check because also I don't think it's finalized before. Yeah, I don't think it's finalized yet. Any plans for some late game unconventional variant or 2 that requires you to do something that is not at all like a normal run? Juggling champions, not killing enemies, withstanding attacks for a time limit instead of a kill counter, formation puzzles, etc. Those are good ideas, Graved, and thank you for that. And I'm just going to let you know that when I pass that along to Justin and he cackles maniacally, that it'll be because of you that something horrible gets added to the game. Is there a hotkey for click damage? I don't know, isn't it like spacebar or something? Yeah. Feybinder, will there be more uses for familiars? I ended up having more than I can use. Yes. That is something that we're planning as part of some familiar updates. We had hoped to be able to have a dedicated quality of life update for familiars to come out before adding more to the game, but that didn't end up happening because we hit our intended DLC retirement changeover. So that came first, and we added more familiars to the game first. Yes, that is something that we are planning to add. I missed the beginning of the stream. I just heard something about the next event saying there will only be 2 champions. The year 1 will not be. Esmeralda, so what you missed is that when year 3 events start, starting next week, we have updated the system to make it so that the year 3 champion is free to unlock for all players, and that they have to make a choice between the year 1 or year 2, or in the future year 3, or like other years, to unlock one for free, and then any more than that, you will have to spend time gate pieces on unlocking. And so that's what we're starting with, starting next week. And once players have actually played it, we want their feedback to see how it feels, how it works, how it affects your playing the game. So yeah. Oh, that's an interesting question, Giant Dwarf. Do feats get turned off? The non-formation ability ones, like variants in periodic petrification and the supply run variant? That's a great question, Giant Dwarf. You'd have to change the feats. So you can shuffle your feats around to see if they're still working. So, yeah. Kino 1989. Will we get any undead champions? That's a hard maybe. Yeah. Will there ever be a formation that uses all 12 slots? There might be something epic enough that it requires, a dozen or more champions in the formation somewhere down the future. What is Dadius' School of Magic? Hey, that's a great question. I have no idea. Yeah, like I just know that he's a wizard, and he's a wizard who values intellect. Yeah, it's funny because Dadius is one of those characters. Like technically, he was already a D&D character that existed, that is a lore champion, that we added to the game. But he's actually he's from the Betrayal at Baldur's Gate board game. That's what he was created for, and so his bio and information about him was actually really limited at the time. So I don't know that we ever actually picked a specific school of magic for him. Usually, so in a lot of cases with our characters, we don't necessarily add that kind of specificity in their bio. Oh, excuse me. You go into their bio, it's like, cool. Bruner is a fighter. But Shield Dwarf isn't a fighter class. It's the type of dwarf that he is, excuse me. So what kind of fighter is he, right? And then we have Korth. It specifies that he's a samurai, which is a subclass of fighter in 5e, is from the Xanathar's Guide to Everything. But oh god, this flipping controller is gonna make me. I'm gonna chuck it off a balcony after the stream is over or something. Just work, damn you. Oh my god. Naily. We don't specify what kind of paladin Naily is, right? And with your specialization choices, you choose from 2 different oaths, which would mean you're actually choosing between 2 different types of paladin, right? And some of our other characters are that non-specific. Like Jarlaxle is just rogue in general. He's based more off of his Waterdeep Dragon Heist stat sheet than he is off of an actual rogue class. Whereas some champions are very specifically designed to be based off of one type of subclass, like Krond is an Eldritch Knight, period, full stop. Ayla is a Storm Herald barbarian, through and through. So some of them are specific. Neris, it doesn't say, but she's a war cleric. So yeah, we don't consistently call that out in the game. So it could very well be that with Dadius, we just never picked a specific school that he is supposed to represent. It's not in any of our notes or any of our stuff on our end. So yeah, I'm gonna have to make a note about that. I'm gonna pass that along to Chris, who handles a lot of the character design and architecting, and be like, Chris, you should have an answer to this question. Alrighty, with the release of Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus, any chance of one of the original Baldur's Gate NPCs other than Minsc to join Idle Champions? That's an interesting question. So you're actually, Chromatic Orb is an evocation spell, but like all wizards can learn all spells, they just get price reductions and bonuses for using stuff from their school, right? So that's a very good case for a evocation being his school, Thunder, but it's not necessarily the case. Anyway, so Baldur's Gate NPCs. I can confirm that there are some characters from the Baldur's Gate series of games, and the comic series that Jim Zub works on that are likely to make an appearance in Idle Champions. But I can't give you more than that. That's not necessarily something that we're planning on doing. Yeah. Supply 215 has the weekly champion buffs being announced. They have, but I don't mind going over it again if you weren't here. This coming weekend is Lucky Weekend, and with featuring Regis, Paulton, Krond, Hitch, and Tyrrell. And yeah, ooh, that's gonna be that's a nice damage buff for Krond. So that's gonna help me. Although the only other one of those that I use in my Krond formation is Tyrrell. Anyways, yeah, Regis, Paulton, Krond, Hitch, and Tyrrell, with a golden epic that I think looks nice. Yeah, I'm assuming at this point it's locked in and it's not going to change. So yeah, it looks good. While I know they could be exploited, so there may be some need to balance, I would love to free play variants after completion as a self-imposed challenge. I will pass your feedback along, Lord Spy, maybe. I just saw that in your current UI is shown how much an ability was upgraded. At least I assume it was that. Any chance something like that would be added to the default PC UI? Dawsy9. So the thing about the keyboard and mouse interface, like our first UI for the game, is that, I mean, it's functional, right? Like it's got everything in it that needs to be there for the most part. And then we developed a whole new UI for the at the time the gamepad UI version of the game. Like Steam has a big picture mode, and it's like, okay, cool. And then like we built it for that with in mind, thinking like, okay, we also want to release on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One at some point, so this will make sense for this. We could swap out the button icons, for the controllers. We came up with different ideas for it. We iterated on it. And so the UI ended up being a bit different. There are some things that one UI has that the other doesn't, and vice versa. So, taking those are lessons we would like to take back to the mouse and keyboard UI at some point. But it's not something that we have in our production calendar. Like UI related overhauls, changes, graphical updates, etc. They require a colossal amount of time. Even when it comes to making video games, they take a long time. Like the gamepad UI version of the game, developing the game changes for it. It wasn't half a year of full-time work, but like it took months and months and months to put it together. I mean, everything had to be drawn, all the portraits had to be drawn, all the different elements had to be created. Icons had to be updated. It's a significant artistic undertaking, and then it also has to be programmed and tested and programmed and tested and iterated and iterated and iterated and programmed. And, it's a lot of work. So we might do that again, but maybe we won't. So in which case we'll try to look at other ways to include features that we see as important. Given that Baldur's Gate is the base of the adventure, will we see any Bale spawn in the new adventure? So when they say that Baldur's Gate is the base of the next book, like Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus, it doesn't necessarily mean that, hey, this is a sequel to Baldur's Gate 2. What it is it's a book primarily linked. It's a Baldur's Gate adventure that requires going into Avernus. It's a little different. So are there Bale spawn in here? I don't want to spoil any of the content that's in this book. Are there going to be Bale spawn in our version of the adventure? I don't know. I mean, Chris is the one planning that whole adventure out. I don't think that's an angle that we're taking. the storyline in this that we're going to take, there are, I mean, like all D&D, I mean, who knows how it's going to play out, right? Like when you eventually, if you're playing through Descent into Avernus, like how this campaign wraps for you, assuming it's not in a TPK, because Avernus is Avernus, it is not a safe place. You know, there are a lot of different ways that you can complete the adventure. So I don't know that we are going to. I don't know which one of those methods we're going to take. I don't think we're going to work with the evil Archon in it because we already have Archon in our game. But who knows? I mean, maybe. We'll see. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. Is it Ballspawn? I thought it was Balespawn, but I don't know. It's been a very long time since I played any Baldur's Gate games. Did you give a hidden combination 9 hint out on the stream so far? Nope. Moose Teacher Pat, fun fact. I did a poll on which Baldur's Gate character people would most want to see in game besides Minsc, and Imoen won by a landslide. Really? I don't know. What about Jaheira or oh man, there's so many good characters. Yeah, cool. Yeah. Is the Furnace a part of the Nine Hells? Avernus. Viconia, ooh, good choice. Avernus is the first layer of the Nine Hells. So for those who don't know, there are 9 layers of hell. I mean, I always picture them stacked like an onion going to a center as opposed to just stacked literally on top of each other. But I mean, they are their own place. And so Avernus used to be this this paradise of sin, basically. It was there for, you know, the devils to lure mortals there and get them to sign contracts, and you know, it was a part of the engine that drives souls and power towards Asmodeus. However, at some point, the River Styx kind of broke through into Avernus, running through it and bringing with it all manner of nasty from the abyss, and it has been the front line of the Blood War ever since. So now it is a sulfuric, horrific, apocalyptic wasteland where, you know, the dragon goddess Tiamat is imprisoned, where Archon the Cruel has a tower dedicated to Tiamat and is working with the Hand of Vecna to try and free Tiamat. It's where, you know, the Archduke or Archduchess Zariel, who is an absolute combat monster. If you ever look into the book, CR26 monster, like built to just martially ravage a party in a couple turns. Like, holy crap. Is in the thick of the frontline battle against the Abyss. You know, it's filled with demons. It's filled with infernal war machines, and you know, like it's a wasteland. Is it a part of the heavens? No, it's not. Avernus is the first layer of the Nine Hells. There are others below it. You know, Nessus down at the bottom, where Asmodeus schemes by himself. You know, Stygia frozen in the middle. You know, it's the Nine Hells are not a place anybody with any kind of anybody would really want to go willingly, but it's also essential to creation because the devils and demons have been fighting each other to a standstill for countless aeons, and if one side wins out on the other, the rest of creation is their oyster because they can do what they want at that point. But right now they're devoted to slaughtering each other. It's it's an interesting thing. If you guys are interested in it somewhere, I highly recommend picking up Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. There's a lot about the Blood War in it, and I also recommend, of course, Descent into Avernus. Avernus, Avernus, not a furnace, like people often say, but Avernus. Yeah, Avernus, not a furnace. I don't know that I say it any better that way, but yeah, there's a lot in here. There's even a section on infernal contracts, which is really interesting. Yeah, highly recommend it. Yeah, so somebody asking about whether or not heaven's in D&D. Yeah, there's a whole list of celestial planes. I I couldn't tell you which map is the official one of the multiverse, but there's a bunch of different ones. You know, like there's the neutral plane of Mechanus, and then there's, you know, just there's a whole bunch of them. There's Limbo. There's lots of stuff. If there is a chance that Archon isn't a bad guy, can we have his crew of Krull and Torragar as champions? They seem like they would make fantastic champions in the game. Yeah, I mean, they're cool characters. You can tell that Joe loves his heavy metal music and his characters and their god Tiamat and everything. Yeah, I mean, I love Krull. Krull is a badass turtle. Torgar, I love less. I mean, Minotaurs are cool, but like you've seen a lot of Minotaurs, right? Yeah. I mean, he's a super badass Minotaur with, he's got a. I assume that Joe got to do this, but like he's got his own unique magical items. Yeah, it's interesting. Artie, any new information on kobolds? I mean, they're still the weakest, some of the weakest creatures in D&D, and we don't have any more planned right now to come out, but that isn't to say that they won't. Yeah. We have more kobolds than a lot of races actually in the game. I mean, we've got 3 in the game already. Any fun retcon / conflicting continuity you saw when doing research for the game? Honestly, the only thing is that because Zariel became a character who was front and center for Descent into Avernus, D&D decided to do a redesign after the version of her that was in Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes last year. So this Zariel looks different. And so what we did was we saw that. We're like, oh, God, Zariel looks different because we were using Zariel as an event boss in one of our events. And so what we did was we took the new version and we did a new version and we replaced Zariel's art in that event to this new version. And yeah, I mean, it's a new version of Zariel, right? Can we get Joe Manganiello skin for Archon? I mean, that would be fun, but it seems kind of unlikely. Zio Elizdian, I have a future content related question. In another stream, you answered my question about additional non-cash familiars. Is there a rough ETA and should I save gems? I finally got Boo. Or should I prioritize buying feats and chests? I don't know that I could answer that question for you because what you feel value in purchasing and what it means to you is a deeply personal question. You know, I can confirm that it's not in the next couple updates. I don't know that I can say anything about it beyond that because it'd be premature because I don't know where that's gonna shake out, when it's gonna pop up. So yeah, that's entirely on you. I'm not sure what the best answer is for that. Any chance to add a button that allows players to jump back 50 areas at once? I don't know. I mean, if you're playing the Steam / web, etc. Version of the game, you can hold down Shift and click on the back area button, and it goes all the way to Area 1. But in terms of moving areas back 50 at a time, I'm not sure. I mean, I can make a note for our devs to see if this is something that they might consider doing, but I don't know. Yeah, okay, so where are we at? We only have a few minutes left. Okay, so can you confirm that combination number 9 has Dadius in it somewhere? It does not. There's a hint. I'm not going to give another one for a while because that was too much fun. So let's see. We're going to wrap up the stream soon. What are we going to do? We have a bunch of stuff that we're planning for the actual release of Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus into our campaign, but obviously the book will have been out for a few weeks by the time that happens. So we have some giveaways and some fun stuff planned coming up, not this coming week, but the week after, that I'm sure some people will be very interested in. Our lunchtime D&D game started back up again last week, and we are still in the Amber Temple, but we have resurrected our druid into a construct. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah, we've had a lot of fun RPing, and a lot of interesting events have happened, and a lot of stuff has gone sideways. And we came so close to perma losing our bard today. Um, yeah, we our bard got hit by a disintegration ray, but made the save and like survived with just a few hit points. But if had not failed to save, would have been turned into ashes. So that was good that that didn't happen. Jesus. And that's actually, you know what, we had a few times now that our bard has reached a point where it's like if they mess up on a roll, they're dead. Because like they failed two of their death saves while being consumed by a monster at one point a few months ago. So, anyways, so we're pretty excited to be, making progress in the Amber Temple. We've got a few more things in there to do, and then we're off to kill Strahd von Zarovich. So we'll see how that goes. I don't think we're all going to make it, but it's been a lot of fun so far. Great session today. Good job, Adam, if you're in chat. Anyways, it's probably about time we wrap this up. So thank you all for joining me today, for coming in. We appreciate you. I mean, this is an opportunity for players to participate very much more directly with us than during other Q&As and stuff. And so we're happy that you do it. So thank you. Yeah, thanks for joining us. This has been our show for Thursday, September 19th, 2019. So thank you so much for joining us, for participating in the communities. You guys are awesome. This show exists because of a number of amazing people behind the scenes, including my co-producer Erica, as well as our partners at Dungeons and Dragons, Greg, Bart, Pelham, Allison, Shawling, and Lisa. Huge thanks to Justin for Justin's busy. So huge thanks to Justin for taking an hour to spend some time with us, going over year 3 events, getting our initial feedback, talking a bit about what our intended design is, and we hope to have that dev blog for you by the end of this week. If not, you can expect it early next week. I believe Welch's Game Juice is coming up next. Is Kate still on vacation? I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. But if Welch's Game Juice isn't on next, at the very least, I'm pretty sure Critical Role is still on tonight at 7. So, yeah, have a take care, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll catch you again next week.